We are now talking to Kansas State football defensive lineman recruit, Brayden Wood. What's going on, Brayden?
How we doing?
We are good, my friend. How are you and your family doing with this pandemic?
We've been doing well. It was a little tough in the beginning. We had two of my family members actually got the virus, so we were a little scared at first, but they got through it, and we're getting through it too. So we're doing well. We're in Aspen right now, kind of a little break from all the craziness that's been happening. So it's been nice.
Skiing? Are you skiing right now?
No, we're just up here, kind of a nice little family getaway.
Oh, there you go. That's awesome. I love Aspen, Colorado. It's beautiful over there, especially in the wintertime. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's the best.
As you guys know, we are talking to Kansas State football defensive lineman recruit Brayden Wood. So, Brayden, why don't you tell us a little bit about Kansas State football? Why you decided to declare in going to Kansas State?
For me, it was really kind of a family-based commit. Their coaching staff up there is second to none. Coach Kleiman first offered me. I think it was a winter morning. They were around 9 a.m. It was during one of my off periods at school. And first 15 minutes ball offered me, and then the rest were just talking about kind of small world stuff, just kind of life. And just after, I kind of knew something was kind of special there, because not a lot of colleges, head coaches at least, have spent an hour or hour and a half of their day, talking to you, or kind of, talking about life other than ball. So I kind of really started off the relationship at K-State. Colin Klein, he's kind of my main recruiter since he kind of recruits the area of Colorado. We've kind of, the relationship's always been there since my freshman year. Their recruiting process is a little different than others. They're kind of really strict on kind of who they look at and who they offer. They offer, I'm pretty sure, if not, probably they hold the least amount of offers, at least given out in the Big 12. So when they offer you, it's a solid offer, and it's there. It's not going to go away. And especially the really thing that kind of stood out, especially with the pandemic, like we were just talking about, they were on me constantly, and it wasn't just one coach. I had, the defensive coordinator, the safeties coach, D-line coach, the D-tackle and D-ends coach, of course, Colin Klein's been talking to me, the recruiting coordinators, and, I've always, talked once a week with Coach Kleiman, the head coach. So just the relationship, that's just built up with them is just in and on, and it hasn't, touched what any other school's done. And that was kind of one of the major factors of my commitment there, was just I felt comfortable. I connected with so many of them on a whole nother level. It was just kind of one of those gut things, And Manhattan, Kansas is, it's a special place. Top 5 college town, great area to be at. At their second, I think, most alumni, basis is Denver. So I've had a lot of, my dad's friends, my friend's dad, just saying so many good things about Manhattan, Kansas, how they loved and enjoyed, their college experience at Kansas State. And then another kind of funny thing is my youth quarterback, Jake Rubley, we played football since the 5th grade. We knew each other way before that. He was one of the first commits to Kansas State. He was a really highly recruit, had a bunch of SEC, ACC, Big 12 offers. And, he kind of pointed it out kind of straight to me. He was like, you're not going to find a better place in Manhattan, Kansas. A lot of other schools may have, better facilities, better uniforms, and it comes down to that. That's not where you're going to school for. Their business program's really good, and that I'm going to try to major in is business and communications. Their business program's really ranked up there. So just Manhattan, Kansas, is a special place, and just can't wait to get back up there.
You are recruited by Kansas State, who's kind of that counterculture of the Big 12. Big 12 always known for the flashy offensive teams for the most part, but Kansas State's always been more known for defense and especially special teams. When Bill Snyder was there, it seemed like they led the nation in block kicks every year. What did that factor into your decision as a defensive lineman? And also, how do you think playing against the levels of those offenses, especially with Oklahoma and Texas and schools like that, could help grow your game as a defensive lineman?
I've always been the type of kid, go against the best competition. I never shy away from, going against the biggest kid or the best kid. Every week when I play my high school, I kind of watch the tape to see who their best lineman is. So I go against them, make sure I stay on them, better myself and, better my team, because when I'm beating down, a Division I kid or, a kid's best lineman, our defensive line's going to have a great day, just learn about the weaker guys. But, Big 12, one of the best conferences, the first, if not, second. Of course, powerhouses like, Texas and Oklahoma. Again, I'm never going to shy away from competition. That's another huge reason why I selected Kansas State, is because, they're in the best conference. They're day in and day out, they're going against the best teams every week. And I'm excited for them. Their D linemen they're a 4-3 team, and they're ball to wall, going crazy every play. They're attacking the ball, they're rushing every play. They're not one of the teams that scheme. You're just slant this way and get double teamed by these two guys, so the linebackers can come in plays. They're a team that treat their D linemen right. They're going to get them into position. Make tackles for losses, make sacks. Be big contributors to the team. Like you said, their defense has been, their stronghold for the last couple of years, especially when they knocked off one of the best, passing offenses, just offenses in general as Oklahoma. How they were kind of building something special, being that staff's first year with Coach Kleiman and all them. So I really think they're putting together something special, kind of have that blue collar mentality of we're going to, hit you harder than you've ever been hit before. They may hit you back, but we're going to get back up and keep doing it every single play.
We are talking to Kansas State football defensive lineman recruit Brayden Wood. Now, Brayden, you were a top recruit, and you look at your game and really your style of game, and that's getting to the quarterback. Could you tell the fans a little bit about your style of game and what makes you tick as a defensive lineman?
For me, it was actually kind of a funny story. I was a running back and linebacker growing up playing youth ball. What really switched me to a defensive lineman was around 7th or 8th grade for me. I was trying to get that growth spurt, putting on the weight. I moved to fullback. I was probably maybe like 6'1", 200 pounds as an 8th grader. So I was getting moved around all over the place, trying to find, that certain spot for me. And then one of my mentors, one of my, biggest people I look up to is Jason White, my second dad. He moved me down to the defensive line. And that's when I really started, falling in love with that. And it was crazy the year I had, and that was the year that I fell in love with football, and that I knew that was going to be my sport going on to high school. For me, and then when I went to high school, I was back at my playing both, going into in the spring with the JV, and then I got moved up to the varsity, and then I got put on the D line. It was around week 4 or something like that. I finally got the starting position at nose guard, and I was only maybe a 6'2", 220 guy, going against kids that are double my size. And I always treat my game I'm the type of kid that my motor's out the roof. The thing about my high school is we're in the top division in Colorado, which is 5A football. And we have about maybe 55, 60 kids. When the team, we have over 120 plus kids on their roster. Mm-hmm. So we don't have a lot of depth. And, that's how we train in the offseason always, as there's no back, my sophomore and junior year, I didn't leave the field for a single on defense, and majority of the snaps on offense. I was a two-way player both my sophomore and junior year. A big thing about my play is I want to out hustle and outwork the guy in front of me. There's no way that I have to switch my mind when I turn it on before, game time is whoever's in front of me, they're not going to beat me a single time this game. I have that mentality, weekend out, and it's been, it's a lifestyle. If I'm honest with you, that's how I've been raised, it's just win the day. But with me, another big thing about my game is I think I'm very, I would say, technical and football smart, if that makes any sense. Like, I'll watch about maybe 6 to 7 hours of film each week on the other teams we're playing, and I'm gonna be like Google Sheets or Google slides on what the majority of the plays they run, what formation, what percentage is run, pass, play action, option, like what two routes are, what their go-to runs are. What's the percentage of them, passing the ball or running the ball on certain downs, which helps my game a ton. Like I said, we're not a heavily, in-depth team. Like, we have our ones and twos, but if someone goes down, there's kind of no one to fall back on. So we have to be, that type of team, and which why we've had so much success in the past years. We've made, Elite Eight, Final Four runs in the past 3 years just because of that.
Talk about the differences technique-wise and also coaching emphasis points-wise that your coaches have told you between playing an inside offensive lineman position and being on the edge as an outside defensive lineman.
So for me, a lot of the time, when we're going against a running team, they'll put me the 3 technique, because at least in the past years we've had some pretty good linebackers. So they'll put me the 3 technique to make sure they're not running the ball on us. Because especially if you look at my highlights, there's a lot of plays on 3rd and 1, even in 4th, or like the offensive line's tired. I can tell. I'll go ahead and switch to that guy that looks gassed or doesn't look like he wants to be on the field no more. I'll switch to that guy. I'll drive him off the line about 2 or 3 yards and make a tackle for loss, or either a turnover or a huge 4th down stop. And a lot for me, for those long kind of 3rd down or even 2nd down situations, I'll move to the edge and kind of use my strength, because I'll just use this bull rush and boulder the guy in front of me to kind of get away and make the sack. So, which this year I kind of experienced a lot more. I think last year I had more sacks. I don't know. But this year they had to slide the guard and tackle, and they had to make sure the running back was tipping me before he got out of the bout, or the running back was just staying in and blocking me. Mix it around to get them out, because we run a 4 package when we kind of are in those like 3rd and long or 2nd and long situations. So I'll be, I'll kind of cruising around. I'll kind of be a stand-up, kind of outside linebacker, up to the nose guard to make sure those 3 guards are on me. So we'll send blitzes and we'll get the linebacker kind of wide open. But the pass rush first, which I kind of set myself on. I think I played 4 to the Division I linemen this year that have, multiple offers, are already committed to, big time D1 school. Obviously going there, kind of my go-to thing is you kind of have to set up a move, because, they're that highly skilled, they've been recognized, getting offers or committed to a college. I can't just bull rush, just use my strength. So I kind of have to, kind of finesse and kind of sugar step and get around them, which I think kind of a huge emphasis this year, because there's not going to be a lot of good tackles or kind of D1 guys in on our conference or in our schedule this year. So if I can get that stuff down and going on to the next level, I think that's going to put me a step ahead of everybody that at least that I'm going into, or kind of give me the position to kind of run for that starting spot my freshman year.